A lot of our clients are interested in residency and diversification options in countries like Paraguay or Panama, which are both territorial tax systems within Latin America and therefore very tax beneficial for the right individual. Today, I'm going to dive into the residency, company formation, and tax optimization in the countries of Paraguay and Panama and compare and contrast them so that you can see which may be the best option for yourself. Again, in terms of diversification for residency, company formations, and then, of course, tax optimization. Now, Paraguay and Panama are both great back pocket or plan A options in terms of residency and having residency diversification, whether you want one, two, three plus additional back pocket residencies so that you're not necessarily living in the country full time, but you do have access to live in the country. You are legally a resident if for any reason you may need or want to leave your home country. So let's first start off with the processes. Now, the process of obtaining residency differs somewhat in Paraguay and in Panama. Now, there is a more formal, longer process on the ground in each country, but our team handles the back end process for you. So we won't dive into the specifics of how to go about processing the application, the translation, the documentation needed for the government to process the application. But in terms of what you will need in order to start the application, the documentation in Panama is going to be more straightforward than the documentation that you're going to need in Paraguay. Now, both countries do have fairly straightforward documentation that is needed. However, in Panama, all you need to get started is your apostilled birth certificate, whereas in Paraguay, you're going to need your birth certificate, marriage certificate, and your background check, and these are all going to need to be apostilled. So while the documentation is somewhat similar, there is a slight advantage to Panama in this aspect. In terms of wait times to actually obtain your residency, have the residency in hand, and be a resident of said country, in Panama, you're looking at between 2 to 4 weeks on average. Again, this is timing as of 2024 with no government delays. So it is a very streamlined process, and we handle the entire back end of the process for you. Whereas in Paraguay, the process does somewhat differ in terms of time frame, but you're usually looking at around 3 to 6 months as long as there are no delay times with the government. Now, this time frame can be sped up if you're looking to obtain residency in a quicker time frame. However, this is the typical time frame if you're looking to get Paraguay residence as a standard process without it being expedited. When we're talking about company formations in both Panama and Paraguay, this is where you really start to see the differences. And if you are looking for tax optimization specifically for a company, if you're not doing business in said country in Paraguay or in Panama, then Panama is really going to have the advantage here. Of course, you can qualify for residency in Panama through company formation, and I have spoken about that on the channel before, as real estate and company formation and investment in a few different options in the country are ways that you can obtain residency in Panama. But if you're looking to do global business, to have a company that is not a local business again in Panama or in Paraguay, Panama is really going to excel. So we can help clients, and we have in the past with them obtaining company formations in a country like Paraguay, but typically there's going to need to be some local business activity on the ground in Paraguay in order to have the company set up. Now, when we're talking about company banking, typically a lot of clients come to us thinking that because they have a company opened, they are therefore within a few days, a week, maybe even 2 weeks going to be able to open a bank account for that company. And in Paraguay, that is just not always the case. We do have an amazing team of accountants who assist our clients with this, but depending on the business activity, how long the company has been open for, and various other factors, it can be more difficult and can even take a month plus to open a corporate bank account when the entity is already open. Now, this is quite different in Panama. Panama is famous for being very well known and friendly toward outside business. So whether you're a resident, a non-resident, or you simply just have a company in Panama, it is going to be much more convenient and easier for you to not only create an entity within Panama, whether it's qualifying you for residency or not, but also to open bank accounts is going to be much easier. It can be done in less than a week with our team. You don't need to be in the country. And this is for both personal and corporate bank accounts in Panama. Contrast that to most banks in Paraguay, where even just for a personal account, you're going to need to live in the country, depending on the bank, usually 2 to 6 months, have your tax ID, and then have movements on that tax ID every month in order to qualify. Another benefit for Panama, if you're looking in terms of investment brokerages, or if you have crypto and you're wanting to on or off ramp that crypto, another benefit of Panama that Paraguay just doesn't offer is investment accounts, having access to a solid brokerage and solid investment accounts within the country that can be linked to bank accounts from anywhere around the globe. Not only this, but also crypto. If you are interested in on ramping or off ramping your crypto, there are various different options in Panama in order to on or off ramp your crypto and then send it in fiat to any bank account in the world. Paraguay does not compare in this sense and does not even offer something comparable. Now, all of this being said, Panama and Paraguay are both equally attractive residencies for the right person. If you're looking to reside in Paraguay and you want a straightforward back pocket residency without much stay requirement, Paraguay is still a great option. Or if you're simply seeking diversification options. But if you're really looking for a residency that is not only tax optimized, but very flexible in terms of company formations, crypto, fiat, investments, having subsidiary companies onto your company in Panama, then Panama is going to be a much better option for you in this sense. Another benefit of Panama is the credit system. Now, you can get into the credit system in both Panama and Paraguay, but in Paraguay, there is that one additional step because you first do need to get a bank account, have some transactions, have some money in that account, and then work your way toward credit products with that specific bank. Whereas in Panama, you can have your residency in less than 1 month, a bank account open in less than 1 week, and therefore the process to get into the credit system with the bank where your bank account is opened is just going to be that much more expedited. Now, of course, in both countries and in most countries, you do have to wait a certain period of time before you could start applying for credit products. That is the same in both Panama and Paraguay. But in order to get into the system initially, it's going to be much easier, much faster, and simply require only 7 days on the ground to process your residency to start getting into the credit system in Panama. One more benefit of Panama specific to residency over Paraguay is that the Panamanian residency can be passed down to your children. So your children do not have to qualify via company formation, real estate, investment in order to gain residency in Panama, but they do need to go through the filing of the paperwork. So if you hold residency, you have a qualifying investment, a company formation, then with the proper paperwork being filed, your child can then obtain residency through you. This is not the case in Paraguay. It cannot be passed down if children are born in the future and you're a resident already. So this is one nice added benefit of Panama if you're starting a family or thinking of having a family in the near future. There are various other benefits of both Paraguay and Panama, but these are two territorial tax systems in Latin America that I see a lot of clients going back and forth between on which option is best for them. And the answer very much so depends, but if you're simply looking for diversification options and not to reside permanently in either country, I would recommend getting residency in both countries, and here is why. As you've likely heard me say before, governments are constantly changing their policies, programs, and pricing around residency and even citizenship programs. What may be a straightforward process today may not necessarily be a straightforward process or a process that is the same price point down the line. So if you are interested in diversification options and potentially wanting to live in one of these countries down the line, and especially because they're territorial tax systems, you can really benefit them if you have your taxes optimized and you're in the right situation, then I would recommend going forward with both of these residency options now. However, if you're really looking for a flexible structure with flexible banking, Panama is likely going to be your first option. And then from there, Paraguay, if you're looking for additional back pocket residency options. We help clients from 40 plus countries around the globe to obtain residence in not only Paraguay, Panama, but throughout Latin America, Europe, and Asia, easily and seamlessly guiding you through the process of documentation and the process on the ground. You can become a client or book a call with us below. And if you're interested in learning more about your global citizen diversification options, click the video on the screen now, and I'll see you there.